Thank you. I cannot express strongly enough my disappointment at information about this afternoon's statement appearing in the media before being given to the Parliament. I have spoken to the First Minister and the Deputy First Minister to express my concern in the strongest possible concerns, and they have given me a categoric assurance that this information was not shared by the Government. In the interests... Thank you. In the interests... Excuse me, members. Members. Thank you. In the interests of parliamentary scrutiny, and so that members are not disadvantaged, I will allow the statement to be made so that full information about the budget is available to members, public services and the public. Point of order, Murdo Fraser.
I'm grateful to you, Presiding Officer, and I'm grateful to you for your ruling on this matter. But you may not be aware that in the course of the last few moments, yet more information has been released by the BBC in relation to the contents of the budget statement. BBC are advising us that the additional dwelling supplement of LBTT is to be increased from 4% to 6%. They are also advising that there could be £500 million extra for local government. It is clear there has been a comprehensive briefing from the government to the BBC of the contents of this budget. This is now beyond a joke. This is not the first time this government has been caught spreading information to the media in advance of bringing it to this Parliament, disrespecting this Parliament and its procedures. Presiding Officer, and I would ask you, if you would, to consider what further action might be taken against the government in light of this further information that has now come to light.
Thank you, Mr Fraser. I think it's extremely important that we continue with the business in front of us. Given the delay that we have already experienced, I will look into the matters that Mr Fraser has raised at a later point. The next item of business is a statement by John Swinney on the Scottish Budget 2023 to 24. I'm simply not going to speak if members will not give me the courtesy and respect of being quiet while I do so. Each and every member of this chamber deserves that courtesy and respect. The Cabinet Secretary will take questions at the end of his statement, and so there should be no interventions or interruptions, and I call on John Swinney.
Presiding Officer, let me say openly to Parliament what I have said to you privately in the welcome conversation that we have had, that at no stage has anybody been authorised on my behalf to brief information.
Members, I think it's extremely important that we hear one another.
Presiding Officer, let me reiterate what I have said to you privately, that at no stage has anybody been authorised to disclose any information that is contained within the budget statement on my behalf at any time. There is inevitably a large number of people have to be involved in the preparation of a government statement, from the many officials that are involved, but across a whole range of different organisations. But I give you my categorical assurance as a member of this Parliament, since its foundation in 1999, that no individual was authorised on my behalf to disclose any information.
Members, excuse me, Mr Swinney. I simply will not have members shouting discourteous comments to one another across this chamber. Please remember that we are elected representatives, elected by the people of Scotland, and I would ask all members to bear that in mind and to think about that with regards to their conduct in this chamber. Mr Swinney.
So, Presiding Officer, in light of the understandable concern that you have on this matter, I unreservedly apologise to you for the situation in which you find yourself, Presiding Officer, in protecting the integrity of Parliament and the ability of Government to explain its policy position to Parliament, which it is in the interests of ministers to make sure we are able to do so. I'd finally, Presiding Officer, point out, before I come on to the statement, that in the detail that Mr Fraser has just put on the public domain, some of that information is contained within the embargoed statements that I make available in advance to other political parties. So I simply point out that those factors need to be considered within this whole process.